Oops, I accidentally hit the damn lock button and stopped the recording. So I started this video because I'm trying to find the earlier message from Melissa Baker when she was bitching. It was right at 3 something in the afternoon on the day that I was arguing with Jeremy and Travis Hillier. On the 23rd. Okay, it was the 23rd. Yeah. 23rd. Let's see. Right about in here somewhere. Okay, here. Honestly, just deal with the police if they contact you. If it's not him, and they will figure it out. Now, he said that at... Let's see, why can't I get the time for this? Copy it. But the time shows up here, 2:15. Why can't I look at the time? I thought you could... Well, either way, it was right here before 4:40, you know. But whenever I just said I think the whole thing's a big lie, you know. I'd like for somebody to prove me wrong with the video. That's out of my hands, honestly. Quit messaging me. I'm not in charge of proving it. That's the Patton Police. Call them. That's the Patton Police? Really? You told me it was the state police. That's funny. State police. Okay, I'll get a hold of them, I said. Well, he just said. I didn't even notice that before. They just wanted me to call him. The whole thing, they just wanted me to call him. I had 3 different people trying to get me to call them. He's letting the police deal with it. They will figure it out. Yeah, because they've been so reliable for me. I can rely on them so much. The police, because they have helped me tremendously. Like whenever somebody furnished alcohol to my daughter and her friends at 14 years old, and I had all the evidence, everything, and I reported that. Only because I reported it because I was on the phone with 911 while I was assaulted. I was assaulted while on the phone with 911, and then so I reported that, and I reported, them furnishing alcohol to a minor, my daughter, and then he stopped me before he got the rest of my story, so he could go and talk to my perpetrators. He talked to my perpetrators for about an hour, and then did fucking nothing. They sent deal up. Like a week later or something to my apartment just to collect a Lila's statement, and I signed it. So they had a statement. And then they tried to explain that away later on and say, oh, well, they can't prosecute. It's hard to prosecute furnishing alcohol to a minor. I guess it's hard to prosecute that. Even if you have screenshots of the person admitting it, you have all the information. You can get cameras to show who bought it, and you get different. You know what I mean? Come on, this is detective work. This is cop work. Is what you get paid to do. But I did the job for them. I had everything. And I even gave him the physical evidence. I gave him the leftover alcohol. But they did nothing. They couldn't do anything about that. Nope. Couldn't do anything about that. So these are very capable police, And they have been so reliable in helping me in the past. Like with that. Or when my neighbor's dog attacked me. In the plain view of like 10 people outside, and I was bleeding from both arms as I retreated to my vehicle, and I called to report that, and I never got off. Any cop actually followed up. I had voicemails from Travis Schilling playing this phone tag game, He would just call and say, "Oh, I'm just reaching out to you about this incident you reported. Get back to me." And then I call him back, and there's no answer. And I leave a message. And then I look, and then I have another message on my phone from him again. And right as I'm looking at it, I look over, and there he fucking is, pulling out of his driveway, right in front of me. I'm in the parking lot across the road, and he clearly did it on purpose. He can see me right there. But no, why doesn't he come knock on my door to follow up? Why doesn't he come and ask me? He knows where I live. But no, he won't do that. But he will go to the neighbor's house and have coffee on their kitchen table. Kurt Lauer told me this. He told me. And Travis is a good guy. I've had coffee with him at my kitchen table. I said, really? That's very good information. That's good to know. Thank you very much, Kurt. And I never talked to him again. He's like my perpetrators. He went in there for an hour into their apartment, talked to them for over an hour. And I was told by the neighbors that they came out like all buddy. But then he ignored me and never came to my house, never did a follow-up, only until I called the school and said he's not to question my daughter without my permission, if he happens to show up, because that's what he said he was going to do. But he just did nothing. So after I called the school and told them that, because I didn't know what was going on, nobody would get back to me. I had pictures of my bruises from the assault. I had my daughter's confession recorded of the whole incident. I had screenshots of the person furnishing alcohol to a minor. I had it all. I even knew who she got to buy it, when they bought it, where they bought it, what they bought. Like, I had it all gift wrapped for them. But no, that'd be too hard, too much like work to actually, to follow up on an actual crime, an actual crime, or like a dog, attacking somebody, and there's actually physical, physical damage to my body. I was bleeding, but they were jumping up in my arms, biting my arms, because I had my dog. I was holding my dog, who they were trying to attack my dog. So I got my arms bit up, and I retreated to my car, and everybody saw it. Fucking even Adam Biter and Billy Simmons were playing in the parking lot with their kid at the time. They were the closest people right there. They absolutely saw it and watched it. But again, I'm just crazy. I'm just a crazy TI. I just make stuff up and steal everybody's stuff, I guess. So, who would believe me? But, and then these things that happen here, I'm skeptical because of what has been done to me or not done for me in the past. The discrimination, the blatant discrimination, and singling out of me, the targeting of me over the years. Yeah, pardon me if I don't have the utmost trust in the Patton Police's chief's integrity and his intent when it comes to me. He's never done anything except lie to me. He has lied to me, and against the pursuit of criminal investigations. Therefore, he has obstructed justice. That is obstruction of justice by definition, by a law enforcement officer. I mean, we're getting into the big time charges here. When you're law enforcement officers are held to a higher standard. So, people can obstruct justice if they knowingly, do something or say something to hinder the course of justice, trying to fight crime. Now you don't have to answer questions. You don't have to answer police's questions if they ask you a question, but you can't lie to them and tell them something that's false. That's a big deal. That's why they have charges for that. And then you can't, say there's a cop chasing a guy down the street, right? And I see him coming, and I just happen to step out into a public sidewalk right in his way, exactly in his way. And, it's clear as day that I could see what I was doing, right? They would get me for obstruction of justice because I just slowed that cop down, allowing that thief to get away. That is obstructing justice, okay? It's called, then there's obstruction of an administrative law. And that, they actually charged my wife with that. which made no sense. Well, they charged me with it. No, I'm sorry. They charged my wife with that. Whenever the constable came into my house, my wife allowed him into the house, allowed him to search the house for me, and um, not, unbeknownst to her knowledge, she didn't know that I was in the house in the basement. She had no idea. But he found me in the basement, slapped me in the back of the head real hard, and then he made me stand in my underwear in my kitchen, handcuffed in my kitchen for an hour while he threatened my wife and threatened to arrest her, and he's going to charge her with obstruction of justice and everything else. And he filled out the paperwork right then and there. This little fucking Elvis-looking sideburn motherfucking weirdo constable filled out the paperwork right there and charged her with obstruction of an administrative law. I said, how? She let you in. She did everything except for find me for you. She you know what I mean? She wanted her to do your job for you too. She let him in to search, and he found me. She did not obstruct administrative law. She assisted. So I fought it at the hearing, and I said, no, absolutely not. There's no way I'm pleading guilty to that. We're fighting it because it's fucking bullshit. And the prosecutor said, well, okay, they said you can fight it if you want, and you'll win if you fight it, but then they're just going to charge you with it instead of her. You see how they abuse their power here? So they, okay, well, since if you want to play that game and you want to fight us, right, fight the law, then we'll just go ahead and we'll charge you with it. And since you were hiding in your house when they were searching for you, I was obstructing an administrative law, I guess. I don't know, whatever. I don't know. I just believed them. I was like, that's fucking bullshit. So she took a disorderly conduct, $100 fine. Because if we would have fought it, then she would have won, and then they would have charged me, and they would have punished me, and they would have made an example out of me for fighting back, right? For using the system the way it's supposed to be used. They would have made an example out of me, right? And they made sure I knew that. Yeah, you can go ahead and fight it. But then we're just going to do this. That sounds like a threat, doesn't it? That's like a threat. Intimidation. By a public official? Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was either the DA or the assistant DA, whatever. It's still a representative of the people. It is somebody who works for the people to serve the public, okay? In the public's best interests. Not their own. Not whatever fucking makes their job easier. Not whatever makes their fucking conviction rate look better. They're supposed to serve the people. Not themselves. And not any other fucking boss. The people. That's the boss. So, yeah, this is just the shit that you learn through the course of this. And if you've never been in trouble or never had charges pressed against you, then yeah, you probably really don't know. You probably think it's all like what you see on TV, like Law and Order and fucking, Law and Order SVU, Special Victims Unit. Like, I watch that shit too, and it's not anything like they make it out to be in the movies and the shows. Not at all. It's funny. It's funny because the shows and the movies, they like glorify law enforcement. They make them look like heroes and everything. In reality, they're basically the kids that got the participation award in school because they had to give everybody an award so they didn't feel left out. They're like those kids, the honorable mentions, because they really, they don't really have any other skills or any major talents or skills, or else they'd be doing that. Anyone can be a law enforcement officer. They wear a shiny badge, they carry a gun and handcuffs, and then they have this power that they can invoke on those who picked on them in high school. I mean, those who commit crimes or criminals. Yeah, they get to use their own discernment and discrimination of when to uphold the law and when to not uphold the law, when to let stuff go. They have that power to use their own discretion, right? But they have rules and they have different codes and policies that they have to adhere to and abide by. Like, they are a mandatory caller. If there is a known danger to, especially to children, if there's a known danger to children, right? If there's a situation that they are made aware of that could potentially become dangerous, endangerment for the child, or possibly lead to public safety of that child or anything, they have to call. It is a law. If they do not call, even though, hey, 9 times out of 10 there's nothing wrong, right? But that one time, there could be something wrong. That's why they have to call, okay? They would rather spend a bunch of taxpayer dollars and do all 10 situations just to make sure they save that one. Which makes sense. I agree. But whenever they don't call when there are a mandatory caller, that raises some red flags. So whenever I asked Travis Schilling himself, I said, so do you got to call CYS or do I call, or how does that work? I asked him this question on the phone after they furnished alcohol to a minor, and I was assaulted while on the phone with 911. Yeah, so I asked Travis this on the phone because he called me back after I called the school and told them, that he was not to question my daughter without my permission or anything. It's just funny that just miraculously, an hour after I called the school and told them that, I got a phone call from Chief Schilling himself. Really, really nice. Really, really nice to me over the phone and in person. Yeah, but that's not how he is on, behind the scenes, when no one's looking in the shadows. Yeah, no, everything he's said to me to my face and on the phone or whatever has been a lie. And they're allowed to lie to you. So they're allowed. That's their power. They're allowed to lie to you in the course, in this pursuit of justice, right? Because maybe they have to lie sometimes to get to the truth, right? They gotta bend the rules, because it's not fair. If they'd have to follow the rules, they'd never catch the bad guy, right? Never. It's like so whenever he called me and he said, hey, I just left the school 2 or 3 days after the incident. He told me he was going there that day. He called me, I just left the school. Yeah, just coincidentally, an hour after I called them. And he said, they told me your wishes. So at that time, instead of coming up to my house, knocking on my door and doing his job, no, he says, I'm going to have one of my other officers. They're going to call you later on and get back to you, and they'll come up, to get your statement and everything. I said, oh, okay. Well, what about I said, before it disappears, the evidence, of, like pictures. I took some pictures of my bruises, but do you have to take your own pictures, or can you use mine? How's that work? And you see what I was doing here. I was just asking questions that I already knew the answers to. Just, holding his feet to the fire. So I asked him those very questions on the phone. And he said, well, he was trying to talk his way out of it. And eventually he came to, well, if you really want me to, I will. But I'm calling on you. The CYS is going to get involved with talking to your kid and everything. So, yeah, I figured that would happen. That's kind of what happens when you call CYS. But I'm actually talking about their kids. The perpetrators have 2 very little kids. I said, I was talking about their kids because they left. If you would have got my statement, you would know that they left my daughter and her friends, 14 years of age, babysit these little children after furnishing them with alcohol that could kill them. I said, I'm talking about them. And he says to me, oh, I don't get involved in family matters. That was his response to that. I said, okay, yeah, I see. I'm just a dumb TI, what do I know? I get it, okay. I only ask these questions after reading the entire fucking criminal code and everything and the entire website for CYS to see exactly what falls under, what would constitute, a mandatory caller or not, and what would actually be considered criminal, actually criminal for not calling. That's criminal negligence. That's, he was negligent in his handling of a crime against a child, against a teenage girl for that matter, where alcohol was involved, adults. And this is a child who had already had an experience when she was even younger with somebody who will now be on Megan's Law for life. Okay, so she's already a victim and everything. And how's she supposed to trust the police or anything whenever they, these cops don't, it's like they protect them. They protect the peds. They're like ped protectors. It's fucking weird. It's real weird how they do this, how this is, it don't make any sense at all. Especially with Travis Schilling. He is the one officer, the one and only person, other than my mom, who heard the whole story from my daughter, who knows exactly what happened. He's the only one, and would be the only one, with the power to do something about it, and the obligation, and the resources, and everything else. And what did he do? He called me, lied to me, told me he had him, he was taking him to jail, and then turned around and dropped him back off at my dad's house and said there was nothing he could do, and left and went home. That's what he did. That's what he decided to do. And, in the end, my brother would get sentenced to 3.5 to 7 years upstate. He did every bit of 5 years of it. And you know what it did take to finally get him arrested? Fucking next to nothing. My dad didn't know what to do with him, just because, Schilling just dropped him back off and said, here. He didn't even say anything. He just dropped him back off and went home. My dad had no choice but to take him to the psych ward. So he took him to the psych ward, What else do you do there? We all suffered like nervous breakdowns over this and everything else years ago. We went through quite a bit over it. And all it took was at the psych ward, when he got there, they of course called his probation officer to let him know, that he's in the psych ward. And just a one phone call to his probation officer, they came right up and picked him up and took him to jail. It was that that hard. It was that difficult. That you got to understand that the Patton chief of police doesn't really have the same knowledge or power as the cops on Law and Order SVU. So you got to give them some credit there. I mean, you kind of do, because they don't get paid enough. I will say that they do not get paid enough. The police don't. They don't. They don't. They absolutely don't. And if you're from Patton, we need to get involved more. We need to pay attention to where the money's going in town. And we need to advocate for more money for the police. We absolutely do. I'm serious. I'm 100% serious on that. Because they're spending quite a bit of money on a bunch of other shit, right? Lots of other shit that is not fucking, it's pointless. It's fucking retarded. But they don't want to pay the police, Well, they don't want to pay another, they don't want to pay another full-time officer. You know what I mean? I don't know. It was briefly explained to me by somebody who was very wronged by this town. Was basically used, abused, and fucking just hung out to fucking dry and kicked to the curb. They used him for what they wanted, and then they kicked him to the curb. Officer Brian Deal. I believe he could be a decent human being. He's got a tough, shitty job. I told Travis that too. I wouldn't want to be you. You don't get no love. You don't get nothing, But that doesn't change the fact that they're supposed to have integrity, okay? It doesn't change the facts of the truth. The truth is the truth. You could be a good upstanding cop full of integrity and righteousness, every fucking day of your career for 50 years, right? But this one other time you killed somebody and covered it up and did all this shit. So are you supposed to let that go? Like the fact that you killed somebody and covered it up and everything else so you didn't get in trouble because of all your other days of service? We're just supposed to forget about that one? Is that how that works? Just wondering here how that works because, he said to me one time, whenever he pulled me over on my way to work, which he said he would never do, he said to me, it's not fair. Not fair, he said. He said, that person driving over there, they have to have a license. He said, me, I have to have a license, he said, to drive. It's not fair. It's not fair that I just allow you to drive around and go to work for your kids, to support your kids. Say being a single parent with 2 kids. It's just not fair that he allows me to drive. So he has to charge me because it's not fair, right? Life's not fair. Life can be unfair, but it depends on the reasoning and depends on the. So if your intent is to, tip the scales, tip the balance of the scales, one way or another for anybody, and create the unfairness, the inequality. If you're creating that inequality and that unfairness towards somebody for no good fucking reason at all, no good reason, and you're only doing it for bad reasons, that's why they have things in place for stuff like that. They have, that's why they're held to a higher standard. Because we trust that. We're supposed to trust them. We're supposed to have public trust in our institutions, right? We have to trust that they would never lie. The cop would never lie, right? And for a long time, that has been the norm. But if you've never, been violated by an officer, you've never experienced them basically committing crimes against you, then you have no reason really to even think anything otherwise. You're just a sheep. You're just a sheeple. I feel bad for you because basically they're keeping information from you to keep you stupid. They don't want you to be smart. They don't want you to question their authority. No, because then they don't get a big fat bonus check anymore, or they don't get their big nice secure pension anymore. So they have a lot invested in keeping you stupid. They have quite a bit invested in making sure you don't know your rights and you don't know how the reality actually is, behind the veil. So it's just, that's just how it is. So let's see, let's go back to this here. I had to go on that little rant for a while there. So 8 minutes ago, let's see, he did see this, right? I sent this 45 minutes ago. It just says sent. Active 8 minutes ago, but you know what? He did not see it, did he? Why do all these people not see this? They're active, but they don't see my messages. Just the ones that matter. Just the messages that matter they don't see. Now, Jeremy did see this one. Yeah, he did see this one, but I also saw something I didn't see before. Okay. When I asked him, he said, I thought you talked to the cops. I just need to know who to talk to. Was it Patton Police? He said, no, state police. Pattons were not on duty. Now, he said that on Wednesday, September 25th. Okay? Right? But he wouldn't answer me before. He just kept not answering me. See, question mark, video call. He's eating, going to sleep. He didn't want me to come up. I just said, I'll just come up and talk to you. I'll just come talk to you. I'll just talk to you. Nope. Didn't want me to talk to him. Find a phone and call him. He really wanted me to call him. Okay? Just wanted me to call him. Even though he got a hold of me on Messenger. Hey, I'm going to use Messenger, and I want you to call me on this phone number. Why is somebody telling me to call them with a phone number from a messenger? Okay, it's right up here. It's clear as day. Okay. Okay, let's see, July 30th. Okay, September 22nd, right? At 4:06. Call me, right? This afternoon. This is 4:06 in the afternoon. Then a missed call at almost 5 o'clock that evening. Missed audio call, right? And then his phone number. Now he put his phone number there, or does it just show up automatically? How's that work? Tap to call back, you know what I mean? So I tried to call it back, and it wouldn't work. I said, "What's up? I heard you for a second, but then I lost you." And then I tried a video call, and nothing would work, right? So then that was that evening, right? So then the next morning, the very next morning, Monday morning, at 7:16 a.m. Okay, that's important too. This is Monday morning. Had a dirt bike that was stolen from my property the other night. I got it back, but it looked like your son on the video. I already called the police. There was also money missing from my garage. You may want to talk to him. Yeah, I talked to him. Okay? And I understand kids lie. But I talked to him, and based on this and what my son says, I just got more questions and some confusion. Definitely no evidence suggesting that he did it or had anything to do with it, except for him insinuating that he did it, right? So I just asked, how'd you get it back if it was my son? Can you send me the video? I'm not saying my son would never do that, but I got to get all the details because for some reason there's an organized effort to make him look worse than he is. So I have to play Inspector Gadget and force the truth into the public realm in order to combat the lies. Someone likes to play sick games. People are capable of some evil shit, dude. Hit me up when you get this. So that was at, 12:13 p.m. And then he got back to me. I'm letting the police deal with it. They will figure it out. Okay, you can't talk about it? You don't want to talk about it at all? It's just weird to me, right? I said, I'd like to see this video. I said, they don't get paid enough to figure anything out. And that's what I'm talking about. They don't. How did you get it back? I'm just curious. Simple questions, aren't they? So I'm working. I don't have time to answer questions. If it's not him, then he has nothing to worry about. Call me. Right? Call me. But what I'm worried about is this before anybody talks to me or shows me anything, the entire school hears about it. My daughter calls me, my mom calls me. Everybody hears about it. There's this big rumor going around. The entire school knows about it and everything, but nobody will come and talk to me about it in person. So I said I tried to call. I have to use Messenger. So then there's a video chat, 50 seconds, and it wouldn't work. So I told him, I said, I'll stop up. Are you home? He said, and then he wouldn't answer me. So I said, okay, where was the bike? How'd you get it back if Ben was the alleged thief? And then he tried to call me again. I said, my phone's weird. Can you hear me? No. I said, are you going to be home in a little bit? Nope. Going to pick up golf carts? Try calling me. I can stop up when you get back. I'm tired of this stupid phone. Honestly, just deal with the police if they contact you. If it's not him, then they'll figure it out. See, they don't want the actual, the physical confrontation, because that they cannot explain away. If there's a recording of two people talking, because this could be anybody on Messenger, they already have that, that's plan B or C, Oh, well, that wasn't me. Somebody hacked my account. You see it all the time. These people that do this, they put a post on there. It says, oh, somebody hacked my account, right? All the time on Facebook. That's what that's all about. So I think the whole thing is a big fat lie. I'd like for somebody to prove me wrong with a video. And I'm just asking the people that want to make the claims, the people that are claiming this shit, putting it out there, I want them to back it up now. Oh, that's out of my hands. Honestly, quit messaging me. And this whole thing came about from him trying to get a hold of me. See how it's fucked up now? All I did was just ask a couple simple questions, and now he doesn't want me to message him anymore. He definitely doesn't want me to talk to him in person. I said, I'm not in charge of or he said, I'm not in charge of proving it. That's the Patton Police. Call them. Yeah, okay. We also know that everybody's innocent until proven guilty, right? Isn't we still live in America, right? I know that that's just fucking bullshit, but it's we still have to create the false narrative to the sheeple, right? We have to make the sheeple believe that you're innocent until proven guilty, right? We can't destroy that fucking fuckery bullshit. I said, okay, just do me a favor. Don't spread misinformation around. If you don't know if it's true or you can't prove it, no offense. I'm just tired of all the lies people tell about me or my kids. And then all of a sudden he wants to talk again, right? So at 4:58, so that's almost 5 p.m. September 23rd. It's a Monday. Missed audio call. Find a phone and call me. I'll just stop up and talk to you if you're home, question mark, I said, right? And this is like, what, 5 o'clock? Okay. And then I get nothing but crickets. Okay. 2 hours later, I asked him, yes, no? So then 45 minutes later, no, eating, then going to sleep. I see, okay. So then he tries, I tried to call him the next day. An entire day goes by, day and night, So this is now Tuesday, September 24th. And me and my son stayed home all day, right? We stayed home all day. I tried to call him at 9:16 p.m. because I got this letter, right? Or no, I didn't get the letter till the 25th. Yeah, okay. But I tried to call him on the 24th because I still hadn't heard anything from him or Travis Hillier on what officer I needed to talk to. So I wasn't just going to let it go. So he sends me a question mark, just a question mark, like the next morning. And I just said simply, which officer do I need to get a hold of? That's Wednesday at 3:20 p.m. And he says, I don't know. They will probably get a hold of you if there are questions. I said, I thought you talked to the police. I just need to know who I need to talk to. Was it the Patton Police? Nope, the state police. Pattons were not on duty. So you see how he said that, right? I said, okay, I'll get a hold of them. But at the beginning of this, right? He just said state police Pattons were not on duty, right? So right here. I'm letting the police deal with it. Okay, so where did it say here? Okay, right here. I'm not in charge of proving it. That's the Patton Police. Call them. Patton Police. See that? Patton Police. That's the Patton Police. He says, call them. Right? Quit messaging him. So I'm not messaging him. This is what you wanted, Jeremy. I'm not going to message you. Okay? I'm just going to have to figure this out myself. Right? But I'm trying. I'm figuring it out here. This says, according to you, that the state police are handling it. But then you'd say that the Patton Police are the ones in charge of proving this. And then he says that, right, that it was state police, right? And I said, I'll get a hold of them. Now it was, boy, they jumped right on that. As soon as I said that to him on that day, that's when I got, it's down here, I guess. Here it is. That's when I got these crickets here. Right? Was it Patton Police or State Police? Right? I had no answer from them. And I asked him this before, which officer is handling the investigation? And which officer told you not to share the video? Which officer did you fucking talk to said not to share the video? You know what I mean? Because I argued with him on Monday, the 23rd, about this. It was 2 days later I messaged him and asked him about which cops it was. But at the same time, on the 25th, I asked the same question to Jeremy, to which he replied on the 25th. You just saw it here. State police, Pattons were not on duty. That was at that time, Saturday after, or September 25th, the afternoon of September 25th. He told me that it was the state police. Right? That's what he told me. So after he told me that now, on the 25th, right? That afternoon, now the very next day, is when, on the 26th, okay? Exactly 1 day later, right? It's funny, right whenever, the timing of it all is funny too, because I get this message from Travis Hillier right after I found out, right after my daughter come home, and he gave me this note. She said it was in the mailbox. My daughter gave me the note that from Travis Schilling, apparently, and his card, so that, it had his card and a handwritten note. And, they said, was it Patton Police or State Police? I asked that at the same time I talked to Jeremy on the 25th. So, fast forward 24 hours, right? So here's what happens in 24 hours of me telling Jeremy, okay, I'll get a hold of the state police. Somehow, this note was left on my porch, I guess. That's what my daughter gave it to me. She's the one that said that it was left on my porch. It was left on the mailbox with a card. It said to get a hold of him ASAP. Me and my son were home all day that day. Okay? Like all day. We were home. And right after my daughter gave me that note, that's whenever Travis Hilliard decides to respond. Okay, so she had just got home. I think she got home from school. It was like right after school or something, And she gave me this note. And my son was upstairs, and I was down in the basement. And we'd been here all day. All day. And she said that note was out there on the porch. And right after she gives that to me, right? And then I do I made some recording of it. I did some recording on the 26th, September 26th. As I'm doing the recording on my phone, right? It's whenever I'm doing something on my phone is when Travis Hillier responds and says, Travis Schilling. Okay? It's the timing of it all. Like when he decided to actually respond back to me and say, Travis Schilling.